Welcome back to In the Slant. Week 2 is officially over. Our boy Dustin is back. We're in a brand new house. So everything seems good, right? Everything is great. No, week 2 was horrible for all of us. It was
awful.
Just down horrendous. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But we're on to week 3. So things are hopefully going to be better in the future. Make sure you guys drop a like this video. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. As always, helps us out a lot and helps us out a ton. As far as last week is concerned, when we made our predictions, Jared went 6-10, Dustin went 8-8, and then I went 9-7. So I've done the best so far the first 2 weeks, I will say, which I'm happy about. But we got to talk about all the games today. We're going to start up top with Thursday Night Football. Chargers versus Chiefs. This was a while ago, so we have to kind of think back. But for me, the biggest takeaways from that game is the officiating was pretty bad, I will say. I think Asante Samuel definitely intercepted that ball. And Justin Herbert, despite getting the rib injury, is like just so tough. And the fact that he made that a great game at the end, and that throw he made at the very end,
dude, yes,
it was like such a tight window, and it's such a dot. Herbert is that guy, and I love Justin Herbert, and hopefully he is healthy going forward, though. But the Chiefs escape with a win at Arrowhead, and they're 2-0.
My takeaways from that game is one. Keenan Allen was out, so the number 1 receiver is out. So I think that was a big
Mike
deficit.
Williams had a big game too.
Mike Williams did have a big game, but I think that was a huge deficit for the Chargers. I do think that if Keenan Allen was in there and that rib injury did not happen to Justin Herbert, I think the Chargers would have definitely won that game. Their defense played amazing. You could definitely tell their defense was way more polished than the Chiefs, but just that rib injury just set him back, and he was still making it a good game. I didn't think he was going to go out there again. And then when he went out there, I was texting in the group chat because I had the COVID symptoms, so I didn't come watch it. But when I was watching the game, I texted him. I was like, I would not be out there if I was Justin Herbert. But the fact that he's still out there, like, throwing dots too, I was like, no one's doing that like him. So, like
Brady said, the officiating was pretty bad. But I think with Mahomes being out there on the field, he's definitely going to get some calls his way. Both Keenan Allen and them being out, I feel like if he was in, they might have had a better chance. Maybe even won the game. Mike Williams did step up huge for Herbert. When he got the fractured rib, that kind of did put him at the end. He did make that tough pass at the end, but still, Mahomes and them came out on top.
So that was our Thursday night game. So we're just going to go ahead and quickly skip to the 12 o'clock games. We're not going to spend a ton of time on every single game. But let's start with the top. I mentioned earlier we were down bad, and we're going to start with my favorite team, the Washington Commanders. They come out and lose to Detroit Lions. It was 22-0 at halftime. Super embarrassing. Defense is fucking ass. I don't even know what to say. Like, it's a total turnaround. Washington, for whatever reason, can one year have a good offense. When we had Kirk Cousins, great offense. Shit defense. And then when we don't have a quarterback, it's Taylor Heineke. Great defense, shit offense. And now that we have Carson Wentz, who's looked good for the first 2 weeks and plenty of weapons around him, good offense, shit defense. It can never, ever coexist at the same time. 22-0 at half. Carson Wentz made it a game at half. I mean, he dropped like 28 fantasy points in only the second half. I don't know, man. I don't even know what to think about Washington anymore. I think the defense is going to just get fucked every week. So I don't know how confident I am in my favorite team anymore, really.
Well, I'm hoping with you guys when Chase Young comes back, I think he might be the leader of that defense. And when he comes back, hopefully things will change. I was here watching the game with Brady, and he did not look happy at all going into half. That was a tough game. I did choose Detroit. But
both of you guys did. So you guys are both right.
But in the back of my mind, I thought, Washington can come out and perform. I like the way they did play against Jacksonville, but
and I just want to say something real quick about the Commanders. I know that I picked the Jags just to start some shit last week, but I only picked the Lions because I literally thought this whole time that the Eagles are a real team, and the Lions gave them a run for their money week 1. So that's the only reason I chose the Lions on that game. I will say I was not here for the whole first half of that game. I missed most of the first half of the 12 o'clock games. I showed up on during the second half when they started making the comeback. Unfortunately, we did miss 12 minutes of the game.
I was literally about to say that. We missed a lot of the second half because fucking Sunday Ticket was ass.
Yeah. Screw DirecTV.
DirecTV needs to run me some money because I couldn't even watch the damn game. It was like crashing for everybody. It was not working. But the Lions have a bright future, man.
Definitely.
Dude, the Lions.
Swift and what's his name? Amon St. Brown.
Yeah,
St. Brown had a fucking game. I mean, you also have Jamison Williams when he comes back. Like, this is going to be a good Lions team. I mean, I don't know how much I trust Jared Goff. He's solid. He's decent, but
I think he's a quarterback that can get enough done to make it in the playoffs. That's realistically.
That's why I was never doubting him. People were saying, oh, they need a new quarterback. They need a new quarterback. From last year, obviously, they didn't win many games, but to me, Goff didn't look too bad.
They always put up a fight.
Yeah.
All right, Dolphins versus Ravens.
I do want to say one thing real quick.
What?
Do not screw DirecTV sponsor us. Oh, man, we're going to the Ravens game.
We're going next. Like I said, we're all down bad. Dolphins versus Ravens. My biggest takeaway, fantasy points. A ton in this game if you're a fantasy football watcher. 35-14 was the lead blown, right? Or do I have that number correct?
We're at 35,
yeah,
14.
or something like that. Tua throws 6 touchdowns. The Ravens were up big, and then out of nowhere, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. Like, Jared, I'm just going to leave the floor to you right now.
I ain't got nothing to say. Good game, Dolphins. First and foremost, okay, so we was up majority of the game until the fourth quarter. We should have never let that game get blown out. Our defense sucks ass. The miscommunication was awful. It happened with a lot of rookies. Shout out to Marcus Williams and Justin Houston. They're the only two that performed that game at all. Lamar did great. He had an MVP performance. I thought the game was blown away after he made that 79-yard run up the middle. You guys remember that?
Facts. No, I remember it.
Yeah, in my head, I was like, dude, the game's over with. But I don't like to say that because shit like this happens, and they came back. But one thing I can say is shout out to the Dolphins. They did destroy us. That miscommunication on the defense that let Tyreek Hill, I think he scored 2 wide-open touchdowns in the backfield, and it was just terrible. But Marlon Humphrey in the fourth quarter didn't play at all. I think he had maybe 1 snap, if that, and then we left it up to our rookies, and they didn't do shit. They got destroyed.
You got anything to add, Dustin, to this?
I mean, my takeaway is, I guess, not trying to. I know the Ravens are a solid-ass team.
You did choose Dolphins.
I did choose Dolphins, but Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, they're those dudes. That's all I gotta say.
The Dolphins are scary.
we've already known that Tyreek Hill was that dude, but Jalen Waddle too. I mean, both of them, they just have 2 of the best duos. I think that might be one of the best duos in the league.
But some of the play calling was on our offense. I think that there's a 4th down attempt that we should have never even went for that could have cost us the game, which it did. Because I think, in matter of fact, if we went back and say we kicked the field goal or whatever, that puts us in a totally different position. Shit like that with the coaching and stuff, they just have some of the bad calls that they put out there on the field, and I don't know.
Jets, are you ready?
Yeah.
Jets versus Browns. Neither one of us, none of us watched this game. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like I didn't, but it was a good. You did. No, it was a good. It looked like it was a good game actually, though. So my biggest takeaway is Garrett Wilson had a great game. Like he's arrived, and this loss for the Browns is bad. Like you have to take advantage of these wins when you can. You don't have Watson, so
especially since it's backup quarterback versus backup. It's not like it's a starter versus backup or something.
Yeah.
You guys forget Joe Flacco owns the Browns. Okay,
I
the
guess
Browns are
that's
gonna
true.
Browns. This is gonna happen.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah, no, for real. Jets Colts versus Jaguars. The Colts get shut out 24-0. It's just like
I want you two to talk because I feel like you guys were super high on the Colts.
No, I said this last week. I said if the Colts come out here and lose to the Jaguars, is Matt Ryan still the fucking perfect upgrade you were looking for? Was everything really Carson Wentz's fault? I'm not saying Wentz didn't play a role in it, but they literally blamed everything on Carson Wentz. And they still lost to Jacksonville 24-0.
I just don't get how you have this team on paper. Like I'm not saying, like besides the quarterback, I'm not like I said. I'm not. I thought Matt Ryan was an upgrade over Carson Wentz. I didn't say it was a huge upgrade. Like obviously, I feel like the Colts actually need a starting quarterback that will be here for years to come. I'm sick of them just getting some old vet and then just not doing anything with that roster. The roster seems so good. I will say Michael Pittman and stuff was out. So like
I was about to say that could be the only excuse.
For sure.
But at the same time, Jonathan Taylor also didn't do shit against the Jags. So like when you have a running back like that high caliber against the Jags, I'm sorry, but you have to get something going. So I don't know how I feel about the Colts right now. For now, I'm just saying Colts are down bad, and if they can't beat the Jags, I don't know who I'm gonna predict them to beat from here on out.
They've played their division twice in a row, so they tied with the Texans. And
Yeah.
I mean, everyone projected the Jags and Texans to be 2 of the worst teams in the NFL. Colts are supposed to be one of those teams that can maybe take this division. So far, they have struggled. Thankfully, their division, well, the Titans haven't been good either. So the window's still open. I'm not shutting the door on the Colts, but it's not a good look so far. I will say that.
Wait, is Jacksonville the first of the division?
I think they are right now because Tennessee's 0-2, and then Houston's 0-1-1, and then Colts are 0-1-1, I think, as well. So I think 1-1 for the Jaguars right now. So and they very well could be 2-0. I mean,
the Texans are 0-1-1, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's the Colts and Texans both have a tie.
Maybe we were just sleeping on this. We thought this division was gonna be better than what it was. Maybe Trevor Lawrence just takes it away.
Hey man, shout out to Trevor Lawrence wants to take division. Go ahead. Bucks versus Saints. Didn't get around to watching this game too much either, but Mike Evans and Lattimore are always fighting each other.
Always.
Man.
Yeah.
It's an every year thing.
And it's like every year Mike Evans is just getting suspended because Lattimore just takes him out of the game. And I don't know if Mike Evans is just frustrated by that, but yeah, they got in a huge scuffle. Jameis Winston's playing with 5 fractures in his back or something like that.
Alvin Kamara's out too.
Alvin Kamara being out. So I know Chris Olave, I think, had a lot more routes, which is nice for the Saints. I think he has huge upside. But I said I think the Bucs were finally going to get a win on the Saints after losing to them the last 6 times, and they did. But other than that, I
mean, I had the Saints winning until we figured out all that stuff that happened. I think that was like right before the game that they announced like Jameis Winston.
They announced the night before Alvin Kamara was questionable that whole week.
Yeah,
so he was up in there for sure. But that Jameis Winston news came out like a day or two before, like on Friday, saying he's been having back spasms and stuff. So once I heard that news, I kind of figured that bet of me and Jared taking the Saints was going to go downhill this time.
Well, obviously having fractures is a huge part. I can only imagine playing with that. So
exactly.
That's about it.
You're 2-0 Giants and the Panthers. I don't even know what to say about the Panthers right now, to be honest with you. They have lost back-to-back weeks. I thought those were 2 games that they could easily win. They were playing a backup quarterback, Jacoby. Not easily, I wouldn't say that, but they they were playing Jacoby Brissett. They lose to them, and then they lose to Daniel Jones and the Giants. The Giants seem to be good. They're 2-0 for the first time.
I think it's their defense.
But how good are they?
It's their defense.
Someone commented that keep sleeping on the Giants on our channel. So
I wonder who said that.
Nah, it was just some person. But
okay.
Are we sleeping on the Giants? Is my question.
I think we picked them, or I think I picked them.
I picked them too. I picked them to win too. But
I obviously picked the Panthers because I was super high on them. But Baker just doesn't seem like that dude, in my opinion. Or maybe it's just like, I don't know. It's crazy to me, like how you have, like I think DJ Moore is a super solid number 1 receiver on most. I'm not saying every team he could be the number 1, but on most teams he'd be the number 1. And Baker Mayfield has utilized him so little. Like he got me like 4 or 5 fantasy points last week. He got me like 13 this week. Like I'm not saying like 13's terrible, but like someone like DJ Moore that has so much potential, like that's so athletic, like you got to be using that wide receiver more. I get Robbie Anderson's not bad either, but I need to see more DJ Moore usage before I can count them out. But like it's not looking good for him, and I don't know.
McCaffrey hasn't been used as much either.
I didn't watch the game much, but if I'm gonna just take away from him, I'm gonna just put the blame on Baker.
Yeah,
just the way I've been with him, or we've been with him in the AFC North for a while, and if he just carried the way he plays over in the Browns, then that's the reason why they're losing. But I can't say much. I don't know. I didn't really watch the game,
but that's how it's always been with Baker. I feel like there's random games where he just looks like he's like the for sure starting quarterback in the NFL, and then the next week he goes and plays literally like shouldn't even be in the league kind of quarterback.
The XFL, right?
Yeah, the XFL.
But the Giants get to play the Cowboys next week, so we are going to predict our Week 3 predictions tomorrow, like we usually do. But I will say I'm excited to see if the Giants can maybe start 3-0. I think it's definitely possible, and maybe the Giants give the Eagles a run for their money in this division, because we'll talk about the Eagles a little bit later. Patriots versus Steelers. My biggest takeaway is I was watching this game for Najee Harris and Damian Harris to see how they did. Steelers' offense is bad, man. Mitchell Trubisky has not looked good at all. And I'm just wondering, and I know some fans were already cheering. We said this was going to happen. We said that fans were going to cheer for Kenny Pickett, and it's already happening. Mitchell Trubisky was asked about it. He said it is what it is. So if you had to make a prediction, are we going to see Kenny Pickett this year?
If they keep losing and playing the way they are, I know they're only 1-1. It's just the start of the season, but if
they barely beat the Bengals, I feel like.
Yeah.
The offense has been bad.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like that's Mitchell Trubisky's fault in a sense. Like I'm not saying that he's been playing great, but I saw that video of Snoop Dogg. Like it came up again where like 5 or 4 years ago he picked, can we please get a new offensive coordinator? And that video came out again. Like someone redid it and said, this is how we still feel about it. Like how the Steelers need a new offensive coordinator. Their offensive plays, I feel like for the last like how many ever years, their offense is just super boring to watch. I mean, people like made the excuse like, oh, it was Big Ben. But even with Big Ben gone, this offense has still looked the exact same in my opinion. So I don't think it was Big Ben's fault why this offense looked like that. And it's just whoever's offense coordinating, they just play boring and just do these boring plays every game.
I think if there's no spark in the offense within like the next couple games, I don't see why not throw your rookie in there.
That's true.
I mean, there's definitely a very big possibility because we'll talk about a rookie later who got the first throw in the NFL as a rookie, at least for this season, not of all time or anything like that. But the Patriots get a win. I said they were going to win. I felt like Bill Belichick. It was a low-scoring game. They ran the ball, and like I said, the Steelers' offense needs to be better.
Yeah.
Falcons versus Rams. This one was kind of funny because we all predicted Rams to win. The Rams needed to win. The Rams did use Akers and Al Robinson more.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Pitts needs more targets, in my opinion. Maybe that's just me as a fantasy owner, but no, you took him 4th overall in the draft. He is not being utilized enough.
Did you see what that coach or whatever said about him? Or he was like, this ain't fantasy. We're trying to get a win any way we can or something.
I did not know he said that.
Yeah,
I
he
seen
said
that.
something
But
like
the Falcons almost came back from 28-3, which is crazy.
Drake London had himself a game.
Oh, Drake
As I'm
London had a
looking at
great
right
game.
now.
Marcus Mariota had himself a good
But
game too.
Jalen Ramsey picked him off at the end because Brian Edwards got like mossed. I don't know if you guys saw. I was watching the end of it, and he threw the ball to Brian Edwards, former Raider, and he just like literally jumped over Brian Edwards and just picked it off, and that was game over. So yeah, and I don't know, man. Falcons once again lose a very close one, so maybe they're going to be the team that loses close games.
I
every week.
don't think Falcons is bad as people think they're gonna be. I mean,
Or thought they were going to be.
I thought they were gonna be. I mean, like I said to Brady and them and Jared, that I didn't think that the Marcus Mariota thing was bad. That one game he did come out with the Raiders, he did look good last year. So I mean, it's interesting to see. I don't think they're out of the playoffs by any stretch of the imagination, but they definitely do, in my opinion. Like Brady said, need to get Kyle Pitts more. You don't use a 4th round pick on somebody and then not get him going in your
4th
offense.
overall pick. I know what you meant, but just for the people at home.
Yeah.
Seahawks versus 49ers. Geno Smith comes back to earth, which I had a feeling was going to happen. I knew the emotions were very high in that first game, and Geno Smith was just kind of riding that.
And like, not even just that. Like, let me just say, Geno Smith did not even really look good in that Broncos game. So everyone that was like,
No, I thought he did look good.
He looked good at the beginning. The second half, he looked terrible. I mean, he came back down to earth that second half that game. That's all I gotta say.
But Trey Lance out for the season.
Yeah, I was about to say, prayers up to him. Hopefully he comes back healthy next season. And
I saw a lot of 49ers fans complaining about the way Kyle Shanahan was using Trey Lance, that he was like running him up the middle against like the linebackers and stuff, just kind of set him up for failure.
Not smart at all.
So Trey Lance is basically set back another year. So I'm not sure what his career looks like going out, but I guess this is a good thing the 49ers did not get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. He's now the quarterback again.
But the thing is with them now is if Jimmy G gets hurt, who do they have? Because
I
Jimmy
have
G
no
has a
idea who
history
their backup-
of injuries.
Yeah,
so-
he does too. Yep.
But with him coming back, I have a lot high praise for the 49ers now. I wasn't as high as I was with Trey Lance, but now with Jimmy G coming back.
Yeah, Jimmy G is just the game manager. He's gonna get the job done. Yes, he's gonna throw some stupid throws at times, but I mean, we
Every
saw what they
quarterback's
were
gonna do that.
able to do last year.
And his
right?
game coming back 27-7. That's a pretty nice statement.
And like,
Yeah.
it was such a close game when Trey Lance was out there, and then Jimmy G goes out there, and you see what happens. I mean, Jimmy G's obviously. I mean, it's not even a question. Jimmy G's obviously a better quarterback than Trey Lance, but we just wanted to see Trey Lance out there because
I mean, like I said, they traded a lot to get Trey Lance, so
Exactly.
they want to see what they have in him and they want to develop him. So I can understand, but Jimmy G is just going to be that solid quarterback that does what you need him to do, but nothing spectacular.
And Jimmy G also gets. I think I saw every game he starts 27% of snaps. He gets 250K extra.
Oh yeah, he gets a lot.
And
of
then if he
incentives.
wins the game, he gets an extra 100K. So Jimmy G's gonna be racking up 300K a game because I do think that the 49ers are better with Jimmy G starting. So with that going on, I mean, I'm gonna be riding probably the 49ers a lot more than I would have been with Trey Lance.
Cowboys versus Bengals. The Cowboys are not dead. They are not dead.
Cooper Rush.
The
Sorry to cut you
Bengals
off.
do need to. No, that was awesome. The Bengals do need to wake up, though. They're 0-2 after making it. The Super Bowl hangover, some people say, that always happens to some teams, is in full effect for the Bengals. They almost walked away with a win in week 1 after Joe Burrow turned the ball over way too much because, like I said, the Steelers' offense is bad. This game was pretty ugly and low scoring as well, but the Cowboys walk out with a W. I remember watching the end of this game, and the Cowboys just came up with a great stop, and they kicked the field goal to win the game. Joe Burrow and the Bengals need to wake up.
That
Yeah,
all lines look terrible.
they're
still.
all-
Oh,
offensive
that
line,
too.
yeah.
I didn't even forgot to add
I was
that.
just about to say that. Their offensive line is still not looking better. Even after all the additions they made this year, they still need to improve.
I think in like 2 games he got sacked like 11 times or like 11 plus. I think he got sacked like 6 or 7 times last game. It was like 5 or 6 this game. Like I was super high beginning of the season. I traded Dalvin Cook for Joe Mixon because I was super high on that offensive line. And so far, all that offensive line has shown me is that I can't trust it.
But hey, that's not a bad trade because Dalvin Cook does not seem to be doing that well
I mean,
either,
neither
so.
one of them are doing anything crazy.
Yeah.
At least not yet.
But definitely for the AFC North, though, I'm glad they lost. I mean, it is scary, though. It's only 2 games lost. They can still definitely come back. It's Cincinnati. I think they should address that offensive line, and I think they should be back.
I just thought that it would be better after all
It
the
should be
additions
better.
they did.
Lyle Collins,
Yeah.
Alex Kappa, they made a lot of additions and it has not mattered.
They still can't protect Joe Burrow. My man's
No.
getting rushed every play. So.
Texans versus Broncos. The Broncos win, but the Broncos, it's been kind of ugly for them for the first 2 weeks. They have not been that impressive, honestly. I mean,
I
week
get-
1, we know they look bad. And then
Yeah.
week 2, they, beat the Texans, which they should. But yeah, it has not looked great for them.
I agree. Brady did mention the fact that Russell Wilson always starts off slow, which I do have to agree with. But like I said in the group chat before I got mad, because obviously I'm a Raiders fan and the Broncos. Like, I left the group chat after, which we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we're talking about them next.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
But I'm just not high on Russell Wilson. In my opinion, I'm not saying that he's a terrible quarterback. I didn't like how he was playing towards the end of last year, and just coming into this season, it looks like he's playing that exact same way. So everyone's like, "Oh yeah, just the first 2 weeks of the season," but you play against 2 weak teams, and I'm not trying to disrespect any of those fan bases, but you're playing against 2 teams that should not be probably in playoff contention, and you lose you lose to one of them, and then you barely beat the other one by a touchdown. I'm not high on the Broncos, and I'm not riding with. You're barely gonna see me picking them, and this is with their schedule looking easy.
You did choose the Texans to beat them.
And, and this is when their schedule is easy. Like the Raiders, basically in the AFC West, it's like flip. Like the Broncos have an easy beginning, Raiders have it hard, and then when it gets to the later season, if you're barely beating teams like the Texans, how are you gonna beat the Chargers twice? Like how are you gonna beat even us? Or the Chiefs? Like how are you gonna beat them? Like what are you gonna do against them?
I was never high on the Broncos. I don't expect much from them at all. I don't care if they just got Russell Wilson or not. These first 2 games look rough, so they're gonna have to show me something for me to start picking them.
I think they'll turn it around, but
I mean, they better.
They have to.
And hopefully prayers up for Jerry.
Yeah,
Judy.
he got
Hopefully
hurt
he's
as well.
Fine. I know that they're doing day to day right now on him. They don't know how he's gonna be, but hopefully Jerry Judy's good. He's an amazing receiver, and I love to see him out there. Not just because I have him on my fantasy team. That's who I did want. Well, I guess I did technically wanted us to draft CeeDee Lamb, but I'd have been fine with either CeeDee Lamb or Jerry Judy at this point, looking back at it.
Cardinals versus Raiders. Dustin. This game, I was watching with Dustin. I had no idea what to do. The whole room was silent for like 10 minutes after the Cardinals got that overtime victory there. Epic comeback from Arizona. Kyle Murray also got slapped by a fan, which is kind of crazy.
It was, you know what's crazy? It wasn't even a Raiders fan. You know, it was a Cardinals fan. I think he was trying to pat him on the shoulder and hit him in the face.
I think you seen the wrong, because I seen the same thing. It was a guy in a red jersey, but it was an older man in a gray shirt that reached over. If you play the video, you can see him hitting him in the face. Intentionally, really? Yeah.
So I saw people because I tried to watch the video and I thought it was that.
Yeah, I thought it was too at first.
I was not spend too much time on that. Let's talk about the football. We don't want to whole analyze that part. I just wanted to mention it real quick.
Roll the clip.
The Raiders 23-0, right? It was 20-0. 20-0. Kyler Murray and Kyler Murray was just running all over the Raiders. I mean,
20 seconds without getting pressured. And it just got to the point. I already see Raiders fans putting the blame on Carr of what's going on. I think our defense was out there for way too long. I will say that. Carr did go out there one time in the second half. I remember he was literally just a 3 and out, and our defense was right back out there. When you have a quarterback like Kyler Murray, Chandler Jones can't get any pressure. I'm so mad about. We pay him so much money for what? Max Crosby's out there, the only one that might be able to get to freaking Kyler Murray, and the one time he does, he's just so gassed. He can't even get him down because he's just so gassed because he literally has no help on getting to the quarterback. It's literally just him. I miss Yannick, even though I love Rockison. He looked great against the Cardinals. His defense, he looked great. That's all I gotta say. We blew a terrible lead. Derek Carr. I mean, you can blame the whole Raiders team at this point. I mean, I don't know what's going on. Devontae Adams, 12 yards or something like that. He did get a touchdown. Matt Collins looked good, but our defense looked terrible. We couldn't stop Kyler Murray. We literally got embarrassed. You shouldn't let a quarterback just be up for 20 seconds. Literally a play for 20 seconds. And then he goes for the 2-point conversion. That should not happen.
I wouldn't even be mad about that.
Renfro fumbled twice, too.
I would be mad at the fact that you were up 20 points, too. We both know that fucking feeling, man. That shit sucks.
Not even just that, but let me say something. We are 5 to 10. I don't want to say the wrong thing. We're 5 to 10 yards from field goal range. Okay, we have Daniel Carlson as our kicker. We almost fumbled the ball with Hunter Renfrow the play before. So what do we do the next play? We throw it to Hunter Renfrow again, and he fumbles again.
Byron Murphy returns it, and that is all she wrote, man.
How can you? I'm so mad at Josh McDaniels. He does not look like a good coach. Last week I complained about how it was the second quarter. We had 3 timeouts and 35 seconds left, and he didn't even try to make a play. And then this week, when all you have to do is run the ball with Josh Jacobs, who was getting yardage every freaking play.
All right, Dustin, can't let you go all day.
Can I bring up something about the Ravens game? Because I feel like I didn't get enough off my chest.
We already talked about that.
No, I'm being serious. I want to say real quick, we were up 21-0. Lamar had an MVP game, right? Yes or no? Can you guys agree? Yes, he had an MVP game. I think John Harbaugh needs to take more initiative with the team because he came out in the press conference saying, "Oh man, it seems like we'll just get him next time." Like, man, get on your defense's ass, bro. What were they doing? Miscommunication happened too many times. We should have won that game. I don't care what anybody says. I'm still pissed off about that.
Packers versus Bears. Not much to say about this game. I feel like the Packers should have won this. This is a game they need to take care of. The only thing I will say is the Bears only threw the ball 11 times, which is insane to me. I don't know what is going on and what the offensive play calls are, but that's just not success. That's just not going to set you up for success with Justin Fields. You're only going to allow him to throw it 11 times. Darnell Mooney has looked horrible the first 2 weeks, and Bears fans absolutely love him. At one point, they were on the goal line, and of course, they line up in shotgun because, that makes sense. And I think he did get it in, but it was there was so much bodies around that they really couldn't, get the right angle to confirm it. So ultimately, it was not a touchdown. The Packers take care of business. I mean, we kind of figured that. Well, you guys both chose the Bears.
I'm dumb. I don't know why I chose the Bears.
You guys both chose the Bears.
I'm trying to be different, choosing the Bears. I should have known the Packers were going to whoop them.
Aaron Jones. I will say something real quick. Aaron Jones looked. I mean, the running backs have looked super great for both the Packers. I only stayed for the first half of that game with Brady because I had plans and had some stuff to go do. But there was literally no other scores really after I left. It was 24-7 when I left, I think, or no, I think it was 24-7 when I left, and with the game in 27-7 or something like that.
10-27.
No, 10-27. So literally ever since Justin Fields didn't look good first half. I didn't watch the second half, but obviously no points on the board. So I guess the Justin Fields train. I don't know if it's just the coaching or what's going on, but
yeah, they need to give him the ball to throw it more.
It just seems like all these rookie quarterbacks or these quarterbacks in the last couple of years have just been looking kind of.
Yeah,
Packers stayed strong and got that W.
Yeah, not much to say about it. Titans versus Bills. I actually have a lot to say about this one. Let's just get the elephant out of the room, or let's say this: the Bills are dominant, right? We know that the Bills took care of business. We get that. The Titans fucked up. They did not sign A.J. Brown to an extension, and they look fucking horrible. They look terrible. Derrick Henry is going to be boggled up all year. That is why I was not high on drafting him. The threats they have on the outside, Robert Woods is decent. Traylon Burks could become something. But the Bills literally just bottled up Derrick Henry, and that's all you have to do against Tennessee. Well, I would allow Ryan Tannehill to throw it 50 times a game as well. What are you scared of, right? You did not pay A.J. Brown. I feel like this team, and they put Malik Willis out there as well. Ryan Tannehill throws a pick six. This game was awful.
Put him out there too after that.
Yeah, I'm not saying that Malik Willis is the starter going forward. I think Mike Vrabel just did it just because the game got way out of hand.
They're getting blown out.
But the Titans not paying A.J. Brown is going to be one of the biggest mistakes in history, in my opinion. It is.
And the Bills are lucky they didn't have Hillard in, the Titans.
Because
they would have came back and won.
Yeah, their Super Bowl window
they really wouldn't have.
The Super Bowl window was there for the Titans. They were making it to the AFC Championship. Why not pay your premier wide receiver? That takes some pressure off Derrick Henry a little bit. Now there's nobody to be afraid of on the outside.
Literally, this is what you do as a team going against the Titans. You go in there, you're like, we learn how to stop Derrick Henry. We win the game. That's literally what. That's all you got to do,
man. Right? You cannot be scared. No one's scared of Ryan Tannehill. I like Robert Woods, but he is not A.J. Brown. I'm sorry, he's not. And then, like I said, Traylon Burks, we don't know what he's going to be yet, but I think he'll be pretty good. It's just.
But you've seen how A.J. Brown's been playing.
We've seen A.J. Brown, which we'll go to them right. Let's go to them right now. Like I said, the Bills are fucking awesome. Titans, I wish I'd even picked them week one because I felt like the Giants were going to stop them, and they did. But Eagles versus Vikings. My biggest takeaway is Kirk Cousins realizes the Vikings have no corners, so he was throwing his Darius Slay all game to try to recruit him or something because Kirk literally threw it to Darius Slay 10 times. It was literally mind-boggling how much Darius Slay got his hands on the ball. It was insane.
My takeaway is that apparently Kirk Cousins can't perform on Monday night or in the bright lights, dude. That secondary on the Eagles, they were killing him. Justin Jefferson didn't have shit going for him. Now, I don't blame him at all, but some routes he could have done better on. You remember the one in the end zone for the interception?
There was one route where Justin Jefferson took a terrible angle and that resulted in a Kirk interception. But still, like I said.
Dude, the secondary is crazy over there.
This is one thing I got to say. This isn't necessarily about the game, but you see how the Eagles handled the Vikings yesterday. Just think about how the Lions gave the Eagles such a good game, and that's something to ride high about. The Lions gave a better game to the Eagles than the Vikings did, and people are going to be way higher on the Vikings all year. The receivers were just getting locked up.
Hey, it was because it was Monday Night Football, okay? Kirk Cousins can't perform.
The receivers were getting locked up.
If it's Sunday, it's a different game.
Yeah.
You literally didn't even really see the Eagles doing double coverage on Justin Jefferson because they were so confident in Darius Slay. And Darius Slay, that's the one thing I would say. He looked amazing out there. Like that was like probably the best cornerback play I've seen all year. He looked phenomenal out there.
He did. Eagles are fucking scary.
Yeah.
Man. They look terrifying. Jalen Hurts looks good.
Oh,
the
Jalen
run
Hurts
game looks good.
good.
AJ Brown was an excellent trade for them. I loved it when they did it. Well, I kind of hated it because I'm a Commanders fan, but for them, that was a great move. Titans fucked up, and I will say that for the rest of my life. I do not care.
And Jalen Reagor getting the boos from his
Jalen
team.
Reagor was getting booed as well. I mean that is that's your week 2 recap. That is what we had in the NFL. So tomorrow we're going to be doing our week 3 predictions as always. But other than that, man, I don't think there's much else to add. Week 2 was fun. A lot of fantasy points, a lot of interesting takeaways, but you guys have anything else to add?
Yeah, the Ravens should have never lost that game, and I'm gonna keep.
The
fucking
Commanders
should
have came back. If DirecTV didn't go down and I was watching it, it would have changed the whole story.
Listen, you don't ever be up 21-0 and let that shit happen in the fourth quarter. I don't even know what the fuck to say.
All right, boys, this is In the Slant. We're saying peace. See you tomorrow.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Go ahead and click here to subscribe and, of course, to watch some more.